How great to be here, huh? I mean, could it get any more raw or organic or down to earth or holistic or authentic, the word we're not choosing today? I mean, here we are in a barn, right? I think this is incredible to think that we could gather and talk about such profound, world changing, global topics. I am so stirred by the movement of TED and our own opportunity to be involved and to be engaged. I want to talk to you a little bit about a concept called strength as an inside job. We live in an era today where it seems like strength is bravado and macho and Sunday night tweets and who's got the loudest voice and the biggest muscles and the most followers. And I just think most of that's kind of garbage. It's kind of a facade for a self-image issue in a lot of cases, not in all cases. I'm not sounding like a judge. It's just that what it really boils down to is who are we and what stirs us, what creates us. Every one of us has a story, don't we? I heard a quote there. It is 80% of the people don't care what your story is, and the other 20% are glad it's not them. And too often that's true, but we have a story, and that story creates us. And in my scenario, my story is 55 years of life, and now I have a brand new baby girl. I can't imagine. I'm so blessed beyond imagination. Yet in that journey, there's been a lot of bumps and lumps. Went through a very painful, shameful divorce, drugged through the public eye, ended up with a heart attack and the drama of that and medications and blah, 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 and led to a later surgery that led to a potential pulmonary embolism. That's always exciting to wake up wondering if you're going to suffocate with an embolism. And then my mom passes away and my best friend takes his life. I'm not trying to sing the blues. It's just that sometimes life can really kick you around, can't it? And then most recently, I had the diagnosis of having a rare form of eye cancer and having a brand new baby and wondering, what does that mean? And you want to do all these procedures, but you can't take cancer out of the eye unless you remove the eye, and I exactly like my eyes, so what do? Every one of us gets those crossroads. What are you going to do? Punt? Quit? Give up, or try to find some inspiration somehow. So I want to share with you 3 keys, 3 calls to action, if I can get through it all, and then what I would call an amazing discovery. The first thing is, as I'll just call this the ABCs, is you need to accept or acknowledge the hardship. Hey man, it happens. We go through stuff, but it doesn't define you. It prepares you for your next part of your journey. And if we really can go and understand what's happening through this experience, we get launched into something very powerful. David Goggins talked about weighing 300 pounds and making $1,000 a month working for a roach inspection company. Now he's considered the most powerful man in the world. 4,030 pull-ups in 24 hours. 8 100-mile marathons in back-to-back weeks. The only man known to mankind that's done all 3 of the special forces schools in the military. And yet, you know what his answer is? Stop blaming. Stop blaming. This man grew up in an incredible racial environment, called the N-word every day of his life. One of the leaders of the Ku Klux Klan's son sat behind him in school and called him the N-word every day and threatened his life on a regular day basis. Gave him a letter with the N-I-G-G-E-R word. And he took it to the principal, and the principal says, well, that's too bad. He spelt it Niger. That was his only answer. Sometimes we're left alone to ourselves, and we just got to freaking figure it out, don't we? You look at Viktor Frankl, who says, I will not be reduced to a number. Yet you look at Rachel Roth, who was given the number 48915, and she was thankful. Why was she thankful? She said, because the dead didn't get a number. It's perspective, isn't it? And we all have a story. We're all experiencing something. The question is, what are you going to do with it? And once you acknowledge it, once you look at it, then you can begin to take charge. And so the next step I encourage you to do is to begin to forgive. Eva Kor, if you know who she is, she was a survival of the doctor of death in Auschwitz, Dr. Mandela, who, when they found a set of twins, took them aside and did massive grotesque experiments on them daily, virtually to death. Her and her sister somehow lived, and you can follow the story. And she decided after 50 years to begin to forgive. And as she began to forgive and write her a letter, she was ostracized by her community and culture because you should never forgive these people for what they did to you and what they did to us. Some people don't want to see others forgive. Some people don't want to see other people's forgiven. But forgiveness is a personal choice, and it's the only way to really release. So sometimes what I just suggest is begin to forgive. Maybe forgiveness is too big of a jump. Maybe you just need to begin. Maybe you just got to start writing your letter. It took her 4 months to write her letter. Dave Pelzer wrote a book called A Child Named It. I think it's the most grotesque accounting of child abuse that I've ever read, and maybe one of the greatest ones ever documented in the state of California, where he was tortured and starved and brutalized and never called by his name, made out of a dog dish, tied in the back with a rope, left to die, and yet he forgave. I don't know if that's too much for you, but all I can say is maybe the best thing to do is to begin to forgive. And then the C of the ABCs is to clear the mechanism. Sometimes we got to take a reboot. We got to reset. Sometimes we just got to say, you know what? I'm okay. That happened. I'm working through my process, but I'm okay. It doesn't define me, but it prepares me. Steve Jobs, when he found out that he had uncurable cancer that he was then later cured of, came to grips with his own eminent life, and he said, living daily with the fact that I'll be dead soon. 2,185 days later, he died. But he had 2,185 beautiful days, of which he probably changed every one of our lives with his breakthrough. What was different between him recognizing that I'll be dead soon, as he gave the address to Stanford? If you remember the talk, many of you have seen it, it's on TED, and he addressed the graduates of Stanford saying, I never graduated from college. Yet he changed our life with the profoundness of understanding that every day is such a gift. And we don't know when it's our last one. And I don't think the time he knew that it'll only be a few 2,000 days later. But I believe what came out of this is something that is an explosive discovery that maybe it's not new to you, but it's new to me. And I call it PTSA, or post-traumatic stress acceleration. You look at the breakthroughs of Mandela's and Viktor Frankl's and people that had amputations who now have climbed 200-foot cliffs. I just read an article about a gentleman lost both his legs and climbed a 200-foot face, and halfway up, he lost one of his prosthetic limbs. And they had to rope it back up to him. He wasn't going down. I'm going to push on. And they roped his leg back up to him so he could finish. He made a decision how this is going to end. He made a decision, I came here to finish, not to start. And there's such a breakthrough. There's a story about two young men raised in a somewhat of an abusive alcoholic environment. And in this abusive and alcoholic environment, these two men grew up. One became wildly successful, international business, incredibly wealthy. The other one became an alcoholic and abusive. When they asked the alcoholic, abusive son, what is it? Why do you think you became like that? It says, how else could I? I watched my father every day. They asked the multimillionaire son and said, how did you create such dynamic success and wealth? And he said, I watched my father every single day. It's a choice, isn't it? And I think PTSA is a choice. I think we have an opportunity to decide how we're going to move through things. Robert Merton talked about a thing called the Matthew effect, and I think our lives fall somewhere between the Matthew effect and the law of entropy. The law of entropy says that things that are unused go to ruin. If you don't work a muscle, it goes into atrophy. If you break a bone, have a cast, shrinks. Wood rots, metal rusts. Things that are not used are lost. The Matthew effect, on the other side of it, Robert Merton said that those things that get used get elevated. You get more. Great athletes get greater training. Violinists, musicians, people have skills, get better training and better training and better training. That when you use your skills and your gifts and your talents, you get promoted to even higher levels. We live somewhere between if you don't use it, you lose it. But if you use it, there's an opportunity to change the world. And so the three things that I would share with you is just if I could just ask you to just take a minute and just dig in a little bit. First one, get in touch with you. Do you understand this thing called humility? Right? It's such an important thing. Humility, for some reason, has taken on this title of play small. I think humility comes from the word humus, which comes from a thing called humus, which is dirt, which I'll call fertile soil. And humility means that a well-planted idea can grow in you. When we begin to attack life, when we begin to say enough's enough, I see what's happened, I acknowledge, I'm working on my forgiveness, I'm clearing the mechanism, now I'm getting grounded on who I am. And who I am is good. I believe that in every one of us. And that humility allows you to start growing this greatness. You're fertile soil for a great idea to take life. You begin to accept that you're exactly where you need to be, to learn exactly what you need to know, to get exactly what you've asked for. We begin to move into an area of trust and acceptance. When we move in this, I am growing, I am birthing something great. Can we accept that? Can we own that we're birthing something great? Because when you begin to move into this fertile soil, you begin to move into the next phase, and that's to engage internally. You go into a personal development mission. You dig into every book you can. You can clearly tell that any of these speakers have read some books, have been to some seminars, webinars, podcasts. Hello, they have been fed. Well, I would challenge every one of you around the world to make a determination, to get on a mission to engage internally, to dig in. I think the thing that grieves me the most when I see people that are broken or hurting or lost and they come for help and we sit down, we have a conversation. I ask them, what book are you reading? And they're like, I haven't read a book in years. Or I picked a few up. Or I'll recommend a book and they'll get a chapter or two into it and what happened? Oh, yeah. They don't engage. They just start and they don't finish. Guys, get on a mission to do you, to build you. It's going to take some time. If it got messed up over years, it might take you a few years to get unmessed. It's okay. But engage with you because you're worth it. Our families didn't go through everything they went to so we could just do life. Right? They didn't come to this great country. They didn't sacrifice. They didn't pass on all the challenges and overcome for we just to hang out and do life. I think we're here to invade the impossible. I think we're here to do things that no one's ever thought of and dreamed of. That's who we are. And that's where you got to dig in and get some fight. Fight for your dream. Fight to have a dream. Maybe you need a dream to have a dream. Maybe you need a heart to have a heart. Maybe you need a fight to have a fight because maybe you've been beat up so bad you don't even want to put your gloves up anymore. You're just taking that beating one more time. You know what I say? Let's get up one more time. Man without vision shall perish. Jocko Willink, if you study him at all, says that every man, every woman needs a mission. When we've got something to fight for, when we've got something to grind for, everything begins to make sense. When you're in a challenge, it's hard. But when you begin to get a mission to help other people through the similar situations, when you understand the power of the law of the silver lining, that in every adversity is a seed of an equal or greater benefit, then you begin to recognize fertile soil, personal development, and then get on a mission to make an impact, a mission to have your own TED, a mission to help people overcome cancer, a mission to help people get back up from a heart attack, a mission to help people come to life again, to radiate joy so people gather around to see you burn. They sense your joy. We teach what we know, but we impart what we are. What are you imparting? What's released? What walks into the room as you walk into the room? Joy? Are you a thermostat or a thermometer? Are you setting the temp or respond to the temp? When you grab a hold of a dream, folks, you begin to harness a power that we've only seen in the greats. The people that have changed the world. The people that have shaped our lives today. Whether that be the General Washington or great scientists or great musicians or movie producers, or just you, good old Joe, making a determination. I so badly want to see you win. I so badly want to see you get up one more time because we need your testimony. Without your test, there's no testimony. Together we can make an impact, and I challenge you. Dig in to be great because there's people waiting for your testimony. God bless you.